Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're actually going to continue our series on playoff NBA predictions. I started this yesterday with the Pacers. I believe that's when I posted it. But today we're going to look at the Pistons versus the Knicks and who I think is going to win and why. I'm going to try and keep this relatively short. Let's go. So the Pistons actually won this series 3-1. However, I don't really think that's indicative of how this series is particularly going to go. The Knicks are playing better. They have several of the better players. Cade, Jalen, Brunson. In particular, I think Jalen Brunson's going to be the main driving force here. So on this first possession that we're looking at, the question is whether the Pistons are simply going to be able to stop Jalen Brunson in the first place. Like, he's going to get calls. He's going to get hands when you're reaching. And he's going to get fouls called. And he's going to be able to drive or shoot around you if that doesn't occur. And so I guess the main overarching point is I don't think they're going to be able to stop Jalen Brunson. And we're going to get to more detail in a second of why I don't think they're going to be efficient enough to just beat him straight up one-on-one. All right, so we can see the Knicks game plan is they're going to try and get switches or try and get screens and try and have that create opportunities. So the Pistons essentially, like, it looked like they were going to hard hedge there, but instead they just switched straight up. And so if you're just going to concede Jalen Brunson working on Isaiah Stewart, working on a big, like, I don't know. That seems like a dicey proposition. And then on the drive, like, what is this? On the backside, we don't even have the idea of rotation. Instead, you're going to box out Josh Hart while Jalen Brunson's driving downhill against a slower player. Like, I don't really understand that, and that doesn't bode well in my humble opinion. And so I guess first off, I don't like the conceding the switches. So if that's going to happen, I think that's going to be a bad news for the Pistons' perspective. And so we can see this a couple possessions later, and so they're more hesitant to have a guard or have somebody switch on to Jalen Brunson here. And so they essentially tried to hedge, and then the original defender is going to close back out. But what that's going to do is temporarily leave somebody open. So I think a big question is, what they go to this probably is, will the Knicks be able to punish them? And I think if it's a guard-to-guard situation like this, like giving Bridges this kind of open look, or Cat this kind of open look, or OG Anunoby this kind of open look, I do think that is a losing formula. I think that is good for the Knicks. So then if we look at from the Pistons' perspective, it seems to me that a huge amount of the efficient offense goes through Cade. I mean, obviously Cade's a great player. And so Cade working one-on-one like this does give them an advantage. However, I think that was goaltending, but I think Cade versus Bridges, though, is less of a mismatch than Jalen Brunson versus Isaiah Stewart or an open three from a missed assignment on defense. And so I actually do think the Pistons will look fine on offense. Like, I think they'll look good on offense. I simply think that their defense won't be able to stop the Knicks is my overarching premise. And so, but I mean, Cade working one-on-one, like, he's going to create advantage. He's a very shifty guard, and he's able to pass very well. And the other thing that I think really hurts the Pistons in this situation is Josh Hart guarding Thompson. Thompson is not a good shooter, and the Knicks are essentially able to leave him, and so that means Cat doesn't have to worry about helping off because Hart is able to help down and prevent the big from getting a lob, and that makes Cade's shots in the lane especially much, much more difficult. And so I understand that the idea is Thompson's going to provide more on defense. However, unless he's going to turn Jalen Brunson over 8+ times a game, then it's really not going to help on offense. Josh Hart, Thompson, just leaving him. Okay? Making life more difficult for Cade, throwing hands up and say, Thompson, make that shot consistently. Don't even fake like we're going to close out. And so far, he hasn't made that shot consistently. So I believe the Pistons actually end up winning this game, and obviously they won the series. However, my official prediction is going to be Knicks in 5. If you enjoyed, feel free to like and subscribe. Have a blessed rest of your day.